네, 여러분 안녕하십니까? 한국사회과학회 코리아 컨센서스연구원 그리고 서울대학교 정의분배센터가 함께 운영하는 콜로키움을 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 오늘은 매우 귀한 손님들을 두 분 모셨는데요. 어, 이탈리아의 나폴리 오리엔탈 국립대학 어, 정치외교학을 전공하고 지금 충북대학교에 익스체인지 스튜던트로 와 있는 이탈리아 대학원생 두 명을 모셨습니다. 어, 지금 오늘 얘기할 주제는 유럽 정치의 그런 파퓰리즘에 관한 얘기인데요. 마침 우리나라에서 진행되고 있는 여러 가지 상황과 비교해가면서 재미있는 이야기를 진행하는 시간이 될 것으로 보입니다. 두 분이 영어로 한국말을 잘 못하시기 때문에 저도 부족하지만 지금부터는 영어로 진행하는 것을 이해해 주시기 바랍니다. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming this afternoon. Uh, Before we begin, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Okay. Let me introduce to my left, you are Beatrice Charoch,
My name is Beatrice Ciarrocchi.
and to my right is Chiara Rossa. Okay. Why don't you introduce yourself? People begin very briefly.
Yeah, I'm a student of l'Università Orientale from Naples. I've been studying for 3 years languages mainly. Then I decided to switch to relations in and institutions of Asia. And my main focus is basically studying Korean relations or Asian relations in general. So yes, and that's my main interest. So
Okay, thank you.
I'm Clara. Pretty much the same. I studied languages and culture first and then switched to political science. Also with the main focus on international relations between Asia and Europe. And yes, my main focus also is Korea. Yeah, that's it.
How come you got interested in Korean?
In the beginning, it was the language and culture. But then studying modern history and contemporary history, like from the 50s and ongoing, I became interested in the relations of Korea with other countries, mainly Europe, and how we can develop that also on the economic side. Yeah, that's it.
What you?
pretty much the same, but my main focus is I'm really interested in the North Korean topic. So yeah, but the history is pretty much the same. I became really interested in history first, and then everything.
Is it modern history or
What?
it's a Korean modern history?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you find living here? Because you arrived in Korea this February, right?
Yeah.
It's only 2 months or so. Do you find it? How do you find it so far?
It's fine.
It's fine.
We just experienced the dormitory life, so I don't know if we can say that we are experiencing the
real life here.
the real life, but it's fine. It's fine. I think living in the dormitory is a pretty international place, so I'm enjoying it a lot.
That's good to hear that. Okay, let's get into the topic of today. We are going to talk about populism, both in Italy and Europe in general. And you are experiencing pretty much the same thing in Korea. And I'm old enough to have witnessed I'm very old. So I see. So actually, I have seen myself how Korea has established the democracy since the 1970s. So it is sometimes I feel real unreal to see what's happened
Mm.
quite recently. Okay. So, but also I realized that pretty much the same thing is happening around the world.
Yeah.
So maybe from the experience of Italia, so we can find some lessons from each other. So why don't, from your memo you sent us, maybe you want to start with populism in Italy, in religions, and maybe the beginning of the populism in Italy, right? So who's going to start with? Okay, Beatrice.
Well, populism started mainly spreading in Italy along with Europe, so it was pretty much the same time, the 80s, the end of the 80s, but I think that in Italy in particular, it has been pretty much a particular kind of populism. It started mainly with a party which is called Lega Nord, which is translated as Northern League, and it's a pretty unique party because it's made of separatist groups, associations. It was pretty much made from northern separatist association, and then it bounded together into this party.
I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you. Before we get deeper into this issue, would you please explain why the populism matters in Italy these days? First of all, what is the main problem? Maybe you can compare with some other countries in Europe.
Populism in Italy has always had a catch because also with the Second World War, we also have an history with Mussolini that was also populism and had a lot of traction on the people. And I think that the main issue is that Italians don't feel secure right now in their jobs, in their country. And with this populism agenda, also lots of people think that the problem is like immigrant people.
Immigrants, yeah.
So there's a lot of propaganda against them, also perpetuated by also the Lega Nord, like the Northern League, that is also in the government coalition right now. And I think that this kind of climate, when you're not really sure about your future and you have to find someone to take the blame, because you cannot take the blame in that situation because it would be too difficult. Then like politicians have something to grab on, and I think it's uncertainty.
Well, it's a typical,
Yeah.
but continue. So
When this party created, the Northern League created, well, their ideas were pretty unique. Their main idea was to fight for the northern people of Italy against the southern,
regionally northern, yeah.
northern people of Italy. Well, for people who don't know, in Italy, the main problem is that in the south of Italy, well, how can I say it? It's not very economically
The imbalances between those and
yeah, and the northern people often refer to
they're wealthier, right?
what?
They're wealthier, richer.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to say. They often refer to southern people as lazy. They are not working enough.
Us, like the southern people, so live on their shoulders.
Yeah.
Like we take money from them and we don't do anything. So yeah.
And because you have a very high income tax rate, or
Also, but they think they're
income is distributing from north to south.
yeah. Like in the north, there's all the industrial complex. So there's a lot of more production and more international also with the all the factories, etc. in Milan.
They are more near to the center of the Europe.
Yeah.
That kind of sentiment. Yeah.
Yeah, so this party was basically created on the idea that they had to divide from the rest of Italy.
Yes.
And we still have this party, which is pretty crazy, and their ideas have changed a lot. So they're not called Northern League anymore, just League,
League.
because they realized that they had to change their perspective to kind of have a better, like a larger footing for that, yeah. So this party is pretty much what started populism in Italy, even if we have some other examples, of course.
Yeah, because after the war, we had that period like the republic was established, and we had a system with big parties,
Yeah.
like the Communist Party also, and the Demo-Christian.
1940s.
Yeah, after the war, yes.
Yeah.
And then these parties really appealed to people. They were on the territory, like making waters, helping the population. But then, like in the 80s, that began to, it was much less, like the people didn't feel like they could relate to these parties anymore. So they began to search for other parties like the League that went and grabbed their votes by saying, I will help you, I can be better than these big parties that don't care about the people. So yeah, and that like vacant spot that these parties left in politics were filled by these little parties that appealed to this sentiment in people. Like
Yeah.
So they started very small
Yeah.
in northern.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we refer as their kind of populism as a local populism because, as she said, they basically created like small communities saying, okay, I will help you with this, I don't know, drug dealer situation or immigrant situation, something really small on small cities.
In the beginning, they are not very political agenda, just the real life issues.
Yeah.
It was always that they wanted like the northern regions to separate from the rest of Italy.
Yeah.
Also, and they were also against the central government because our government is based in Rome because it's our capital, and they thought that the government in Rome didn't care about the people.
Yes.
And also appealed to some symbols, like they said that they were descendants of the Celtic people against the Romans. Yeah,
Yes, mystical things. Yeah.
And so that's.
Is that true? It's not true?
Of course not.
Okay.
No. But they created this new idea of how to do politics in Italy, because before it was really a really, how can I say?
Practical issues.
Yeah. After that, we have the biggest example of populism, which is Berlusconi. We have to talk about Berlusconi a lot today because he was the main thing in Italy. Yeah, and Berlusconi learned a lot from the Northern League. And, well, I don't know, would you like to say something about him?
Well, he
It's well known. Okay.
like transformed like the local populism of the league into a media like kind of populism, because he was the owner of a television company, and he like how do I say, he learned from the league the methods of appealing to the people, and then he went on the media to like speak not to local like communities but to the people of Italy directly that watched, I don't know, mainstream media, because it was and it is a very popular channel to watch in Italy. And with this kind of communication media, he started to appeal to a lot of Italians also, doing promises like, I will give you like 1,000
New jobs,
workplaces, new workplaces, because also there was the crisis for jobs that is still ongoing actually. So he made his
So
promises.
Northern League agenda was amplified through the media that Berlusconi had.
In the beginning, they did a coalition. Actually, Berlusconi did his own party, that is Forza Italia. And he did a coalition with the League, but then they separated at some point. Yeah. I think he just took the manners of speaking to the public.
When it happened, actually?
In the 90s.
90s. That's the beginning of the populism in Italy, can you say?
Yeah, the very big one. The one that, because a lot of people then voted for Berlusconi, and he was in the government a lot of time actually. And well, we know he did like the scandals, etc.
And so what happened to the Northern League after the Berlusconi?
Well, as I said before, they had to change their
agenda.
They couldn't focus on the northern only. And
but it actually happened because they had a crisis.
Yeah.
Because there was a like the founder of the League, Bossi, he had a scandal. I think money
involved.
Corruption issues.
Then he was demoted, and there was another main guy like Matteo Salvini.
It was early 1990s.
No, this
Before
is
that.
no, this is after
After
the
that,
90s, because then in the 2000s, beginning of 2000, the League became very important. A lot of people voted for the League. And after the scandal, they did a kind of rebranding, because if you voted by most of the people and you go to the government, you cannot say that you want to separate Italy. So he rebranded, and the rebranding was not against Southern Italians, against immigrants. So there was another enemy now.
Yeah, right now is pretty much focused on the immigrants, new religions, mainly. New religions.
New religions.
That the immigrants that come from Africa and the Middle East, because of course they're escaping wars and war conditions, and he thinks they want to colonize us with Muslim religion.
Yeah.
Which is absurd, obviously.
And also the woke culture, the
pro-LGBT,
they are against everything, basically. Yeah.
So he's against the progress made in Europe for the last 50 years.
And they're also very anti-Europe.
Anti-Europe?
Yeah. Now,
in what sense?
Now it's more moderate.
But in the beginning, they're very
anti-Europe, because they said that Europe policy
in the sense that
destroyed
the Italian economy,
identity and
Italian economy. Like, they set some rules and you have to follow, and they are not they don't want to follow Europe's laws.
But how the League can became a nationwide political party with that kind of extreme agendas? The people accepted it.
Yeah. I think it's the people's fault.
So what made Italian people accept those kind of?
I think was the vacant promises. Like, they promised they will make economy better. Like, we have a huge public debt with Europe, etc. And they promised to reduce the debt and reduce the recession and all the crises, economic crisis, job crisis, etc. Of course, that wasn't true. But people believe them also, I think, also because they have a way of communicating. There is
a special technique.
It's very close to the people.
They shout. They use informal language, to appeal to most of the.
They do hate speech on the street. No?
No,
They used to.
not right now. They used
No,
to because
they used to,
let's say
mm.
like the Matteo Salvini, like the actual right now president, like the of the league. In the beginning, he gave 8 speeches against also South Italians. But then when he had to gain votes in the south of Italy, because if you want to be in the government, you have to appeal to all of Italy. He apologized, and just everyone forgot, because also the people right now in the south of Italy are voting for him, because now he says that the problem are immigrants. And a lot of immigrants are in the south of Italy, because when they arrive from Africa, that's the first.
So that appealed to the people in southern region.
Yeah.
That kind of agenda, yes, but the rest in most of Italy.
I also think the main thing about populism is that you are different from the other side. I don't know how to say it, but the main thing is that you have a main leader in your party that is so charismatic. So Matteo Salvini is really like, he knows how to speak to people. Even if he's saying something crazy, he knows how to do it, how to appeal to someone.
His special skill to relate.
Yes,
to
special
people.
skills. Also, what's important, and I think that's a problem that is going to be super important in the next few years, is social media. Social medias are the main platform for populism. It was television before, now it is social medias. We were talking about yesterday, they use AI photos to create scenarios that are not real, but they use it to I don't know, to do some kind of propaganda.
With some fake news also.
Yeah.
Like as we said, they are against the LGBT etc. Rights, and he made a picture with AI of a man pregnant,
saying that this was normal.
What would happen if we let them?
Of course, but people don't believe that kind of thing, right?
We have this kind of ideas, and they already hate
it. Also, I think populism works on how can I say?
I think we are moving a little too fast.
Yeah.
But before we get into the next segment, I guess you are already in early 20s, so you know the Italia today since the 2000 maybe. So everybody regard Italy as one of the most advanced countries. So basically, rich people, Italian people are rich, relatively, if you look at them from the global perspective. How come? What is the main ground, or what is main ground people accept those kind of issues? The uncertainty, the immigrants, what else? The economic situation.
Yeah, the economic situation.
Yeah.
The income inequality, or
yes, income inequality, because we do not have also a minimum wage.
or minimum wage.
No.
Don't want to pass the the bill that will make a minimum wage of 800 or 1,000. It's not even a lot actually of euros. So a lot of people, especially young people like us, when we go out of university, they offer us internships for 400 euros a month, which is very little.
What kind of burden for the internship? What kind of work it is?
It could be
how many hours do you work?
Sometimes they use the phrase flexible hours to say that you maybe go to work from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, but you have to be available when they want. So there's a lot of this kind of job offers, and also a lot of jobs are underpaid.
Please
Like-
interrupt. Feel free to interrupt whenever you want.
I think another main issue that we're going to experience is the system of the pensione.
The pension.
Pension system.
Pension system.
Yeah.
So what's the problem now?
The main problem is that
Mm,
not enough people are making kids, so we don't have enough to pay pensions in the future. And we don't have people who work who will pay the pensions in the future. So this is another issue. And also pensions right now are really low. Like
You have to, like, the age of retirement for men right now is almost 70.
70.
Yeah.
67, 70. For women, 65, because there's not a lot of people that are like depositing part of their paychecks to like pay the pensions. So that is also the issue is that in the 80s, a lot of people went into retirement early because they could, like when they were 50. So they lived on this kind of system for a lot of years. So now it isn't enough for everyone.
So they left the pension system with a lump sum of money.
Yeah.
So now they don't have a pension. So you mentioned the mediatic populism by Berlusconi. So can you say that this is the base of what's happening in Italy right now, or did it change?
I think it evolved from like television to maybe social media and all these other kinds of media, but yes.
Yeah, well, I think television is still
the
main system.
What TV does in Italian? What's happening? I understand what's happening. This is very similar to what's happening in Korea, right? You have very bad TV programs all day.
I think the thing is that we have a national channel, and this was the main thing before Berlusconi came in. Like it was the main media for news, for everything.
And politically neutral.
Yeah.
Yes. It was.
Yeah, it was.
It was, yeah.
It's not.
I know.
But right now it is clear that it is not neutral.
It's not neutral. It's, let's say it's
for the government.
Yeah. And then we have another channel, another main channel that is the Berlusconi league. Private channel, but it was and it is really
Influential.
yeah. I was not born under the early Berlusconi channel ages, but it's available on YouTube. You can find like crazy things said on it, like crazy, like the crazy thing for me is that it was for young people and old people, and they had literally young people saying that the other side of the party, like it was the devil, like saying that they were communism, the opposition was communism, communists, and then they were the devil, and it was crazy, but it was somehow legal. For some reason it was legal to say. So yeah, it was crazy, and it is right now really a problem.
Yeah, particular situation, because also right now a lot of journalists they used to work for the national channel. Maybe they said or did something that was not aligned with the government, and they were demoted, said like they didn't have a program anymore, and had to move to other private independent TV channels.
Why everything you say is so familiar to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what's happening.
So now let's move to the more recent political environment in Italy now.
Yeah. I think that if we think about modern populism in Italy, we have to talk about mainly the Northern League that we've already
No, how big is that now?
Oh, it's really big.
It's big.
Yeah.
Is it bigger than Forza?
Main coalition.
Mm.
Main coalition is the um, main populist party.
Meloni is from there or
Yeah.
not? Oh, I see.
Meloni is not from the Northern League.
But
It's from
from the coalition. Mm. Mm.
yeah. Then
Mm.
she moved to another party, which is Brothers of Italy, but
Mhm.
it's mainly the same thing. And yeah, they're really big, but I think we also have to include some other parties in the talk, because not only parties from the
Right.
right
Mm.
are populist, but also party from the left can be left. Let's say center left can be populist. The main one that we have in Italy is called Movimento 5 Stelle, which is 5-star movement.
Mm.
It's another crazy party that was born from a comedian, from an Italian comedian.
5-star.
Yeah.
5-star.
Okay.
He created this party, and the main revolution, let's call it like that, is the digital populism. He wanted people to have access to politics on their phones, on their tablets, on their computers. So he created this party, and everything between the party was and is
Posted on the blog.
posted on a blog. You have a platform where you can choose, I don't know, you like something that the party is promoting or not. You have
a poll that you can answer.
Yeah, you can answer
When it
polls.
started it?
2009.
Yeah,
Or
but
well,
they
it
were
started
in,
and then
yeah, they were big in 2013.
yeah.
14.
And this was a revolution, because I think this is how, like, this is the main reason why now social medias are so important for politicians in Italy.
I suppose they claim it's a direct democracy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the platform is called Rousseau in honor of the Jacques Rousseau. That's why they claim of the direct democracy, base of democracy, and they're also anti-state, I don't know, yeah, central state. So that's why they think that we need digital democracy, digital access to politics. They were also the ones that started the idea that everyone can be a politician. Like even the farmers can be politicians, or I don't know, whoever can be a politician, which
Yes, but no.
yes, but no. I mean, you still have to study or know something about those, or how the politics work.
That's also far light or
No.
also
They appealed to the people by saying they were not aligning neither with the right or the left or the center. Nothing. They positioned themselves outside of the system, because like that they were more accessible to the people.
so they are mostly attacking the establishment.
Yeah.
now.
Exactly. But they do not adhere to some ideas of the right parties, like they don't see immigrants as a threat, like they do not do that kind of propaganda. So they're, in that sense, I think, a bit more central. Yeah. And also in the beginning, they tried to appeal to the people by saying that if they were elected in the government, they would reduce their income, their monthly pay, because politicians are paid a lot if they are in the government. And they said they would renounce to everything that was not necessary, like the cars that they get, or private, I don't know, services, etc. So a lot of people were appealed by them.
So do you think that in Italy the government is too big in general?
No.
That's also another tough question.
the system, I think, as it is thought,
Mm.
it works. It should work.
Because there are too many uses of corruptions. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Made by the bicameral system. So to pass a law or an act, it has to pass many like reviews and
Committees.
yeah. And I think that's good because they cannot like let laws like pass like that.
That's democracy.
Yeah. But sometimes they still find a way to take another shortcuts. Yeah, that should not be used like they're using it. So yeah, and also right now the president is trying to establish presidentialism.
Oh yeah, presidentialism. That's
Like in France.
like
You want to change the constitution?
Yes.
Okay.
Have more power, like directly.
Do you have anything to interrupt?
Main the decreasing power of established parties like Communist Party and some.
Are they losing power?
Right now, they don't exist anymore.
yeah, we don't have a communist party.
We don't have the Communist or Demo-Christian Party. But I think that in the late 70s and 80s, this party were not too involved with the people anymore, like they were in the beginning. And also there was a lot of situations like the like terrorism, etc. So I think they couldn't, like the people thought that they couldn't handle the country anymore.
I think it was also a lot of scandals in corruptions, a lot of corruptions and involvement with another major problem in Italy, which is mafia. So the involvement of people with of politicians with mafia was, I mean, you can't trust a politician if he deals with mafia. So I think that was the main problem. And also, I think the main reason why populism works is because they have a great leader, and they didn't have those kind of parties before. The populism didn't really have strong charismatic leader, and charismatic leader. They work for some reason because every party now does have a charismatic leader. They search for it. So I think that's why those parties actually declined.
I think we are having too many informations publicly. So let's get to the page. Now, who is the leading political coalitions now?
The far right
coalition.
And
it is that's Forza Italia and the League
Forza
coalition.
Italia, Northern League that we talked about before, and the Fratelli d'Italia, which is the Giorgia Meloni's party. So that's it.
How about the opposition parties? What are the opposition?
They don't exist.
No. They don't exist.
But really strong. I think we don't have a strong left leading party, because also like the Democratic Party, for example, is not really left; it's more central. So, and that is the main party for the opposition, like with more voters. But it does not really appeal to people right now, actually.
What percent of seats in parliament, the Democratic Party? 20%?
Yeah,
more or less.
20-25. And the opposition is not really strong. They try. But there is not. Also, I think that the problem is that these parties don't have a real coalition. Like every party is for themselves. Don't really have collaboration.
There's
So
no strong leader there. That's
Yeah.
why.
No.
no, there is this semi-strong, like Ellie Schlein. There is the secretary of the Democratic Party. She's trying, but doesn't appeal to a lot of people because I think that right now the grip that Giorgia Meloni and the others have is too strong.
So they don't have enough. They don't have strong future, at least in the short.
Also,
Yeah, no.
I think that the problem is that a lot of Italians don't go to vote anymore.
Yeah.
In the last election, only 40% of the population went to the polls.
Why do you think the reason is?
It's trust in politics. Like there was a lot of propaganda in the years that politics don't work anymore. So the people just said, "Oh, everyone is corrupt. So it doesn't matter who I vote. They're all bad. So I don't go to vote." And that was also the reason why the Populist Party went to the.
Still, I guess people want to change the situation, or
Or maybe
no?
they won't.
I feel that Italians are a bit, I don't know, led by inertia. They don't really, it's like they don't really care.
Italians feel happy now.
Well, if you
No, no.
if you listen to a lot of people, they're not happy, but they don't do anything to change it.
I think the main problem is also that we had a lot of new parties going to the parliament. So we tried everything, all of them, and people realized that maybe all of them are the same. So they have this distrust in politics, and that is another major problem for Italian politics.
And because there are so many, some are good and get like 3.5% of the votes, like the one we voted actually.
3.5%.
Yeah, like the left side. And because I think a lot of people don't take the time to inform themselves about policies of these parties, or maybe some of them don't really understand. So what they hear, what they understand is the things that the populist parties are saying to them, and they understand that and they believe that and don't take time to.
And also, I think that the main thing about populism is that it's easier to blame someone like immigrants or whatever, rather than accept that we have problems in Italy and that is because of us, that is because of Italian politics and not because of immigrants. So that is way much easier to realize, and that's why only the people who go to vote for those kind of parties, populist parties, because it's easier to say, okay, it's not my fault, it's someone else's fault.
And now I go to vote someone that will erase the problem.
Yeah.
Current ruling coalition, they will popular among younger people or
Yeah, that's what I'm going to is.
Okay, they are famous, popular within the 40, 50 age years, yeah. But I actually know a lot of young people like myself voting for them, which is shocking because
That sounds familiar. Okay.
because I think another problem that it's not only an Italian problem but European problem is the rise of fascism and the right, extreme right ideas, and they work a lot on male young people. Male young people are really, really like.
And it appeals to them these extremist ideologies and methods, actually, like violent ways of acting. Like I don't think there's much dialogue anymore. It is just, I'm on this side, you're on this side, and we cannot agree, we fight. Like I see a lot of like violent climate. I don't know how to say right now.
Why this happening around the world?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think
it's somewhat related to the high unemployment. among young people?
The
Unemployment rate,
high rate unemployment,
maybe.
Yeah,
probably.
probably because there's a lot of frustration, and maybe that's how.
More girls in university now.
What?
Girls are more.
Girls
There are
are,
more girls in university.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
actually,
pretty fair amount of boys and girls.
the main problem is that male young people that vote for those kind of parties don't go to, because a woman would never vote against their rights. Not all of us, of course, but
Because
female.
the female like word for president in Italian, because we have like genders, etc. for the words. She wants to be called the male alternative. So that's not really true. There's a lot of women there right now.
Yeah, but
It's less, yeah,
Yes.
it's less common, but right now a lot of women are against also feminism, etc. for some reason. Yeah, because they think it's too extremist. And that's another.
But I think the current coalition, I suppose they will continue to be in the power for the time
Yeah.
being, right?
I think so.
But if they are in the power, their agenda become a little bit more moderate than before, less extreme than before, I guess. They try to change
Yeah.
it because they are in the power.
Yeah,
Do you see this kind of
Yes.
changes?
actually, like the president, Giorgia Meloni,
Mm.
before she also was
Europe.
Europe, but right now she's a bit more moderate
Mm.
because, of course, she has to make a dialogue with European Parliament, etc., to get Italy like aids after the COVID situation. Has to dialogue with Europe. So yeah, she's doing a redefining of the agenda.
Really finding or just she's faking? What do you think?
That is debatable.
I think she's faking it, but yeah, we don't really know. But yeah, it's true that when you when a party goes to power, they have to calm down a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's true that happened, but they're still very, very strong, very extremist. So
They are in the power. They try to fix the problem you have in Italy, right? What are their main priority of the policies?
I think
Of course, the unemployment, things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
mainly, yeah, this unemployment, and I think the immigrant situation is also.
Situation that would be
So what they want to do to fix those problems? Mm.
well, for
Talk to Trump. Maybe.
I think the main one until now, until the USA situation, was the immigrants. So they tried to build like
Barrier.
no, because they come from the sea, so you can't really you cannot maybe.
Can I control them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not
No.
really, but you can maybe deny access to the coast.
Oh.
So a lot of people have died in the ships
Yeah.
that come because they were denied access to the port, so they were just in the middle of the sea. Also in winter sometimes, so yeah.
So how serious is the immigrants problem in relation to the unemployment? Frankly speaking, how do you
I don't
assess it?
think they are related.
Yeah, they're not,
Yes.
but they try to say that immigrants that come here, like in Italy, they steal Italians' jobs, but actually that's not true, because they are
Doing jobs that Italians don't want to do
Don't-
anymore.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's not a problem. That's another thing that populism created. So we are blocking them because if we block them, they don't come and steal your jobs.
Right.
I terms of concentrated in some urban area, they are just distributed
Mainly on the south.
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 Yeah, mainly on the south because they work
It's near,
for,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
because they also work for farmers.
Mm.
So for so they mainly work there. And yeah, they are very like they work in
Very good
very poor
conditions.
conditions.
Like maybe not even 2 euros an hour.
Yeah.
When exporting countries like Africa,
Yeah.
like Northern Africa,
Yeah, Northern Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
some Middle Eastern countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Places of like war and
Right.
really poor conditions.
Okay. Let me ask. Let me rephrase my question like this. Maybe you don't like it. Okay. Italian people chose this coalition. Why you don't like it?
Mhm. Mhm.
Why I don't like it?
Uh-huh.
Well,
Well,
My question is maybe not too polite, but
no.
no,
it's
weird, but
mm,
mm.
mm.
It just
So why
goes,
you are different from the general population of the Italian?
it just goes against every value of mine.
Mm.
I don't have to find someone else to blame
Oh.
to realize that we have a problem. So yeah, I think that's why I do have pretty close, like for example, parents that vote for those coalitions, and they really have this idea of the enemy.
Mhm.
The enemy is the immigrant and whatever. So I realized that's crazy. For me, that's crazy, because I know they are not the real problem in Italian
And you don't believe they have your capacity to fix the problems of Italia now? No. Mm.
No.
Because also the kind of solution they tried to take were a bit absurd, like building in Albania a camp to literally deport the immigrants that are in Italy
Mhm.
and take them there.
Mm.
But the the Constitutional Court
Mm.
is times and times again doesn't accept like the departure, like the deportation of these people. So Italy spent a lot of money to make this structure to literally detain immigrants, and the Constitutional Court makes a decision every time that it is unconstitutional.
Constitutional, yeah.
So they spent a lot of our money, and in the end, there's nobody there, and it wasn't even.
It's empty now.
Yeah, because they cannot stay there because it is unconstitutional. And everyone said that, like said it is not useful to build this place, and it also is dehumanizing and unconstitutional, but they still did it. And in the end, the constitution, like they declared it was unconstitutional.
And Albania is a member of EU now? No. That's right, yeah.
And also, I think the main thing with this coalition is their laws for the security, internal security. They are making a lot of unconstitutional things by paying university to tell them who is voting left.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. You can find it online. They are passing laws for this. They're also passing laws to obtain names and IDs of people who protest.
Yeah, go to protest. Like pro-Palestine.
Pro-Palestine or whatever is against the.
You want to list?
So the government is trying to get the list of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
How the government is going to use the list to stop the funding? What?
They really are trying to stop manifestation and protest with the police involved. Too big of an involvement.
Yeah, this is a serious problem. I've had colleagues of mine from the same university coming home after some manifestations with their legs broken because they get beaten from
How the
police.
other EU countries respond to this kind of policy? Do they have voices on this, or
No,
they don't care?
not really.
Mm.
They don't really have. I mean,
But there is a EU Parliament, right?
yeah, but they don't get the chance to dictate on what's done inside the country. The only thing is the Italian relation with Hungary, which is another far right country. So they try to moderate that.
But it's very familiar stories, but it's strange that that's happening in European countries.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have imagined it either, actually, because like we were born with the freedom of saying and doing anything, and right now it doesn't seem like it is an option.
So when we teach about Europe in my class, I usually say to my students that Europe has been successfully progressed for the last 50 or 60 years. So your values are quite important to the rest of the world. But if that's really happening, it's quite a disappointment. And maybe I'm lying to my students.
It was like this until the rise of the far right parties. Yeah. It's a particular time in Europe now because every country is going in the same direction. Yeah. So it's a bit of a problem, but I think we'll pass it
Eventually.
Situation in university, are there many pro-populist?
No.
Pro-population?
Normally in university you find pro how do you say it? More like leftists.
Progressives, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the problem I was talking about before. Those manifestations normally starts from university. So that's why they are trying to control it by getting the names of the people who are, I don't know, starting manifestations or protests. And that's because the main focus of manifestations start from the university. Yeah, and I think it's happening the same thing in America.
Yeah,
the United States.
Harvard, like Trump is not punk
I think for parties, this is the main, like the universities are the main thing to start to look for. I don't know.
Of course, because they're the educated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the maybe.
Yeah.
Because they are educated.
So what percentage of the high school graduates go to universities in Italy these days?
It's actually, I think, very low compared to Europe. I would
40%
say
maybe?
maybe
more than 50.
more than 50. Yeah.
Not too bad.
No,
it's not too bad, but
it's crazy. Like in the past years, there was practically almost everyone went to university to do at least the undergraduate. But right now, I don't know why. A lot of young people no, because right now, even going to university doesn't guarantee you a job that will pay you a lot of money. So maybe they go into a career directly to start to make money as soon as they finish high school.
They can usually go any job.
Yes, but sometimes they actually enter into companies also. So and there they start low and then go up the ladder. And actually, right now, I think like manual works are paid a little bit more because there's not a lot of people that want to do it anymore.
Right.
Like building houses. etc.
Plumbers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
And also, yes, as she was saying, it's normally people who go out of university that gets paid less.
Yes.
So
Right.
going to university doesn't really mean that you're going to get a job.
Have a good job.
Yeah.
Is it true that college graduates get lower wages?
No, no, not in Korea.
I mean,
You're lucky. Not for us. We did it for passion.
Hmm. So, but you are here for a short period of time, so maybe you have chance to watch what's going on in Korea. So you may have some sympathy with Korea in watching the situations, right? So can you give me a brief impressions?
Yeah, when we saw what happened in December, November, we were really shocked actually, because like having studied the history, I didn't think that could be possible again. But I was happy that how the population reacted
Yeah.
and the protest like in the night, because like I liked how Koreans were really active in what was happening to stop what was happening, and I thought to myself, well, would Italian people do the same? I don't know. And I would like for my people to take an example from what Koreans have done, actually,
Yeah, I
to
think
change the situation.
I thought about the same things.
Mm.
The way Korean people reacted is really an example for every other country in the world, in my opinion, because they reacted so strongly
Mhm.
and
To
that's
defend democracy.
yeah, to defend
Yeah.
democracy.
Because sometimes I think also in the US or our country, people don't really realize when the democracy is being stripped away from them. So I would like them to have more awareness.
Maybe because democracy is given for granted. Like,
Yeah.
we have it and no one is going to steal us, but that's not true.
Mhm.
And we saw it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that because when I was younger, we spent so many hours on street
Yeah.
throwing stones. So there's always a price for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the situation in Italia, do you have some idea what's happening in other parts of the Europe? Like you mentioned Hungary, of course, but the same trend is going on in other parts of Europe,
Yeah.
right?
I think the country that really shocks me is Germany. Germany is really going the same direction. In Germany they have the AfD party, which is the extreme right party, and they use the same techniques, like the idea of
Social media.
social media, immigrants that are bad. And what shocked me, and that why I mentioned it before, is that it really appealed to young male people.
Yeah.
Because they are really, I don't know, I never studied psychology, so I don't know. But I think that's something that makes them look like really strong, a strong party with a strong leader, and strong ideas. So
That's an interesting topic here too. Let's talk a little bit about why the parties targets young male generations. What attracts? What what what's the attractions from that? What do you think? You don't have to be very scientific, but just give us some impressions. Of course, the jobs matters, but why young male people are more angry? Why they are angrier then?
They are angry around there, actually.
Mm.
And I think that I think that the general male population in the most of their lives, aside from the economic maybe discrimination, they don't experience a lot of discrimination.
Mm.
So they
So they are being discriminated.
I think they feel threatened by the situation, economic situation, and they are not maybe mature enough to accept that that situation was caused by their own government or the people that were before them. And they're trying to find, as we said before, another responsible party of this kind of situation. And since they're not really used to have these struggles a lot, I think they react in a much more angry way, and they're attracted to this kind of party that are more extremist, more violent, and that like give the blame to someone specific that is an outsider, so the immigrants or the I don't know, LGBT, and it's not rare that is also a bit of a misogynistic kind of area.
Sometimes the parties stimulate angers of the young men. Yeah.
And I think they search for an emotional response more than a really thought out, kind of reaction.
Can you say that Italy used to be very traditional and a male-dominant society
Yes.
before?
Yeah.
So they are losing power, they are losing their privileges?
No, they're just have struggles in the economic side. They're not losing anything. Also,
Same thing happening to the females, right?
yeah, but I think we're also a very traditionalist and Catholic kind of background that has like a more push towards this
You have anything
kind of
to add?
culture.
I don't know. I know that it works for young people. It works like these systems that of communication that parties have created. They work for young people. I don't know why. Maybe it's because, well, I don't want to blame them because I used to have crazy ideas of opinions, and I will always change my mind. But yeah, I used to have crazy ideas, and then growing up, you realize that maybe it's not like you thought. So maybe they're just in a very particular moment of their lives, so they're really easily manipulated. I don't know, or
could be a lot of things. Could be also the cultural like heritage from the family.
also, yeah.
Because the like families, Italian families, on their children are very influential. Like very, I don't know how to say, smothering to the children. So I think there are lots of young people absorb the ideals of their family, don't try to inform themselves for themselves, so they just continue to believe what their parents or family believes. So sometimes
Mama boys?
Yeah.
not much of that.
They are not mature, right?
No.
That's a biological.
What is the general attitude of Catholic churches towards the populistic coalition?
Technically, they shouldn't go together
Yeah.
because they are different values. But
And also we should be a
yeah, we
religious
should be a
non-religious
country.
Yeah.
But populist parties use religion every time. Like we see some leaders with like going around with their like chain with the crosses and faking of saying prayers or things like that.
Like saying, oh, we are the Christian values, we have to defend the Christian values, our culture, and like a famous speech by our president, like she said, oh, I'm Georgia, I'm a mother, and I am Christian. I'm Italian and I'm Christian. So that really, I think it still appeals to a lot of people because Catholicism is, of course, the main religion. It is very big, but it shouldn't get involved with politics. But it is because it works at attracting people.
Yeah, also there were a lot of laws that were trying to pass about
Reproductive rights.
no, I'm just saying like in the school classes we do have crosses in Italy. Someone tried to like they tried to remove it because classes are full of not only Catholic people but I don't know Islamic.
The separation of religion
Yeah.
and politics.
And they like these populist parties are trying to keep it. Yeah.
They appeal to the most of the Catholics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good
Yeah,
strategy.
that's why I was talking about the idea of having our religion deleted, you know.
Yeah.
The fear of new religions, that's another.
Mostly Muslims.
Yeah, mostly.
Do you have any comment?
Actually, I have not so much idea about Italian political. But anyway, so
And he's an economist from Hanyang University. That's the one working together.
my daughter is also some kind of. She has some. How can I say? She hate boys, right?
No.
Recently, the major coalition party in Italy, so they are
Appeal to the boys, yeah.
boys, so I wonder why it is happening in all over the world. Yes, and so what is the alternative way that you can solve the problems that Italian political system is facing? What do you think? How can you solve the problem?
I don't know.
To solve, I don't know, but I think.
So let me talk more. In case of Korea, I think the source of the problem is the concentration to the metropolitan area around Seoul. Everybody wants to live in Seoul and near to Seoul, so that make the competition to be very hard to bear. But in case of Europe, I believe that the reasons all over
It's a decentralized.
decentralized. Italy also, even though there are some problems between north and south, I believe, compared with Korea, you have more better situation. So then, what is the main source of your some problem? What causes it, and how? If you define the problem, then what is your alternative way that you can solve the problem?
Well, I think we have the same problems
Mm.
because in Italy too, people want to live in certain cities, so the prices for those cities go
Housing,
up, and people cannot afford it. So it's mainly the same.
And
But-
also the problem with bed and breakfast and tourist accommodation.
It's a really touristic country, so also a lot of tourists make the price go up. But anyway, I think how to solve the Italian problems is
So, in your opinion, you don't believe that the major coalition party will solve the problem, right? So,
no.
then who
So you can provide your idea very freely, yeah, very freely, yeah. You can get the.
I don't know who can solve it.
But
What has to be solved, rather? You can
it has
deflate
to
the
be
problem.
solved that we need at least a minimum wage
Mm.
and a way for the government to guarantee the social rights, so the rights to access to free healthcare, that we have free healthcare, of course, but it takes a lot of time to make a reservation. For example, if you have to take an MRI and you don't want to pay 200-300 euros, you have to wait maybe also like 10 months or almost a year. So we
you have also private service, which is very
Yeah,
expensive. Yeah.
it's expensive. So a lot of people, even when they can't afford it, they go private because they need it, because their life depends on it. But I know that we're also privileged because if you want to go to the emergency like hospitals, you don't have to pay, and it is very like it is accessible. But for other things, not really. And also the job situation, so like the minimum wage, and to like guarantee the conditions of the workers are like of human decency. Like you have, I don't know, paid vacation. It is like guaranteed. It is because sometimes it is not really the case, and like for starting jobs to not be underpaid and something like that.
So in response to his question, if you are in the power, what would you do then?
Yeah,
Then I can rephrase the question like that.
I would fix the wage problem, because I think that fixes a lot of other areas. So, for example, we have a problem that most of young people do not remain in Italy but go away because they're not paying enough. So if you pay people enough, they will stay. That will also solve the problem of birth rate.
It's a law.
Yeah, it's the
very-
same as in Korea, I think.
But it's
I think, and that would solve also the pensionistic system, maybe in the next years, of course. But yeah, I would solve that. But that's a really tough question.
are leaving Italy to where?
Maybe
Depends.
other European countries.
Yeah,
European,
European
yes.
countries.
Germany, maybe Poland, Netherlands.
And then most of them are also going like in Australia,
Yeah.
some
But
places.
then Australian or Holland people would not like that.
Yeah.
Even
You
high educated person also. It's like brain drain is happening. Brain
Yes,
training.
most of them are high educated because
Get it.
even
Brain draining is happening.
Yeah.
Mm.
also like if you want to stay in the research area of education of university, you're not getting paid enough to do it. So if you go to Germany, they're going to pay you 3 times more.
But it has nothing to do with the minimum wage, right?
Yeah.
High educated person expect higher compensations.
But
So you don't have industry, business to accept that?
yes, but sometimes also companies that hire educated people, they, since there is not a regulation, they offer you really little money. Like you have 2 degrees, I don't know, undergraduate and master, 600 euros a month.
Now, who are the main group of the society opposing to the idea of minimum wage? The
Politicians.
business?
The business,
Politicians.
yeah.
Politicians?
But it's like the government right now, and also private companies and industrial.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, because then they have to pay more taxes, and so yeah.
Can you say that Italian business and the politics are, implicitly have coalitions? No?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
we
think-
could say that.
Yeah. I don't know how far extended it is, this kind of connection, but I think definitely.
It's happening under the table. Right?
Under the table, yeah.
So bad to hear that, but still, the Koreans admire Italy. You want to visit?
We do admire Italy. It doesn't seem like we do.
what's the next election?
Oh, we have to wait for
for
the end of
the time.
the autumn.
So
It's gonna be 1 or 2 years, maybe.
yeah, it's already 3 years. Yeah.
You don't expect major changes.
No, I don't.
No,
People are not happy, but they still are going to do the
I
same.
want to engage.
Yeah, because as we said before, we don't have a real opposition to that. So
Maybe you guys can do that.
Just to say, like the party that we voted like last time had 3.5 or something
Percent, yeah.
percent.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
You voted.
we voted for a party which is called Green and Left Alliance. Yeah.
That's also that they exist in Germany before, right? Oh, Green Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, future.
I hope.
So I think we spent almost 8 minutes. Time flew very fast. And yeah, we have 10 more minutes.
There were some previous prime ministers in Italy, like I don't know whether they are good or not, but Romano Prodi, do should they do something to say something or to criticize the policy of government?
They do.
But it doesn't work at all.
No, they're not really that influential anymore.
Yeah.
Most of them. Yeah.
The thing is that when you go, I think it's the same all around the world, but when you go into politics, you suddenly lose like really, yeah. So yeah, they try to say something.
Meloni is the strongest.
Yeah, it's actually, I think it's the first mandate that is going to the end after a lot of years. We had like 1 year, 2 years,
And then the government
and then the government
was
collapses.
Yeah.
Just keep some hints to Korean for watching this
Oh,
meeting. But like I told you I showed Meloni's picture to some Koreans. Most of them say, "Oh, it's beautiful. She speaks really well." And
She doesn't.
Maybe that's
yeah,
She doesn't speak so well. I mean,
That means she doesn't know her.
she's really charismatic. Yeah, I give it to her. But
that's true. Yes.
So I think time is almost up. Maybe we'll have another. I wish I have another chance to invite you before you leave. If there is some major changes in Italian politics.
okay.
So if you're up for that, but you can come again and talk about your experience in Korea. And this is a pretty interesting country with respect to the political situations. So you may observe what's happening here and you may give us some impressions from your own perspective later. Okay. Let me give a closing comment in Korean if you allow me. 예, 오늘 저희 콜로키움은 이탈리아로부터 오신 두 대학원생들을 모시고 이탈리아의 정치 현안에 대해서 자세히 들어보았습니다. 특히 우리나라 정치하고 비교할 수 있는 점도 많이 있고 글로벌하게 일어나는 현상에 대해서 다시 한번 확인하는 시간이 되었다고 생각합니다. 오늘 또 참가하신 두 분과 그리고 오셔서 여러 좋은 질문을 해주신 참석자 여러분께 감사드리고 다음 기회가 되면은 두 분을 다시 모시고 이탈리아에 큰 변화가 있으면은 또 들어보고 우리나라의 정치적 변화에 대해서도 좀 의견을 들어보는 그 기회를 갖는 것이 좋겠다 이런 생각을 해보면서 오늘 저희 코리아 컨센서스 연구원 사회과학회 서울대 정의분배센터가 공동으로 주최한 이 콜로키움을 여기서 마치도록 하겠습니다. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.